A very good day to all of you out there. This is Admav here with another episode of Admav's Corner. Welcome on this beautiful July 30th, 2023. It is a quiet evening, and yes, I'm recording this podcast in the evening time, something that I don't typically do. I usually record it in the morning time, or whenever I wake up, which is sometimes early in the afternoon. Just side effects of an afternoon shift. But tonight, I'm recording it at nighttime, and it's very interesting because, usually when I record these things in the morning, my brain is still sort of, not foggy, but it hasn't gotten going through the day yet. It's still sort of waking up. It takes some time, right? You get up, you do your morning routine, whatever you have to do. In my case, I take vitamins, my usual supplements, and then I go take Cloud, our cute little doggo, out, and then I try to prepare my lunch ahead of time before I go to work, and then do whatever I need to do in the between time. But yeah, I've been doing okay otherwise. I've been trying to clean up this weekend as I've been putting off my cleaning schedule for quite a while now. And the thing is, I have quite a bit of stuff coming up in terms of events that I've had planned with friends and other people in my life. I know I kind of sound very cryptic right now, but it'll become clearer in the next podcast, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to make sure that I clarify it on the next podcast, but yeah, for now I got to clean up because the state of things around where I live they're not the best in terms of organization and cleanliness. So I've been trying to focus on cleaning up because a clear space is a clear mind, as most people know some sort of variation of that saying. And there's a lot of stuff, and honestly, it's a little bit overwhelming. So I'm trying to tackle things just one at a time to try to make it more manageable so that it doesn't feel like such a daunting task to begin with. But yeah, that's just my strategy, and I think it's a fairly common strategy amongst people who need to complete several tasks within a tight timeline. And when I say tight timeline, I guess that's like around the first week of August to the second week of September. I feel like it's just going to be one big tornado, it's going to be a whirlwind. Because honestly, summer it's flying by. And this is something that I even talked about in the last episode of my podcast. And I mean, it still feels that way. Nothing much has changed. It's still the ongoing theme of summer 2023. It feels like. And it's interesting, though, because despite the elapsing of summer, the rapid elapsing of summer, as far as how it feels anyway, it feels like it's elapsing rather quickly. July has felt like a long month. I say this because it's been a month that's, I feel, has been filled with change. And this harkens back to previous feelings that I've shared. I think on the last, even 2 to 3 podcast episodes where I've mentioned that ever since the last Christmas party I had with my group of friends, I even told my best friend Kiz that I have this there's just this feeling in my stomach. It's not a bad feeling. It's not a good feeling. It just is, right? It's like this sense that this year will be a lot of changes for a lot of people, for all of us. And I know that sounds rather vague, as technically change always happens to everybody, no matter what year it is. But I guess as it pertains to what I deem significant as related to the life I live, it feels like these some of these changes are significant, right? And unfortunately, or fortunately, change can mean good things, and unfortunately, change can mean not so good things, or at least they're things that cause us to feel things that are heavy and challenging, things that are difficult to deal with and potentially process. But yeah, this month has been pretty amazing. One of my childhood friends, Toph, he got married, and it was a beautiful wedding. The wedding ceremony made me tear up several times, as I grew up with Toph. I've known Toph since he was a baby boy, basically. I was, at the time, 4 years old when he was born, as I'm 4 years older than him. And it's surreal to see him. First of all, happy birthday, Toph, because he turned 30, the big 30, which is surreal because he's always been my little cousin. It feels like our families are very close, and he's always been the little cousin to me. And that wedding was so beautiful because it clearly showed his love for his now wife. And as someone who I don't often see emote, he was very emotive and cried a few times, which is great because there's a lot of very powerful and almost overwhelming emotions that come up when you're part of a massive life milestone like that, like a wedding. So I'm so proud of him and the man that he became. Even though we haven't been as close in the last few years, just because that's just how life turned out, right? We just got to follow the road that we're on, and whenever changes happen, we just kind of have to deal with it, knowing that this doesn't necessarily mean we're not friends or it's the end of the road. It just means at this time we're not really seeing each other, right? That often. We're not really able to hang out and spend time with each other as much as we used to. But it's okay, because there's still that bond and that connection from previous times. So I'm super proud of Toph. So happy birthday, Toph. Congratulations again, getting married. It's amazing. And so much to be grateful for, right? And another thing I want to mention, and unfortunately this is the side of change that a lot of us would call not so good, because honestly, just off reactionary feeling, that's how it feels like. It's not so good, right? And in this case, it is the loss of a couple of good boys, a couple of good doggos. Two of my coworkers, two of my friends, lost their dogs this past week, unfortunately. Mr. Jones, 13-year-old gentle boy, Thunder, rest in peace. And Sen's 13-year-old doggo, rest in peace. Mr. Jones and Sen have had to go through some difficult times as of late. It's never easy to lose a family member, because I think a lot of people consider this. I absolutely consider this to be the case, where your pets are basically your family members. I mean, especially when it comes to dogs. Not that I'm saying it, I'm limiting it to that, but it really, for me, it feels that way. So, I'm sorry for your loss and what you're going through, and my heart my heart goes out to both of them. And yeah, that's the change, right? That's the change I mentioned. It Whether it's good or not so good, as I've mentioned, change can be difficult to adjust to, and it can be tricky to settle into that change. But it's important that we do settle into that change, because that's normally a zone in life where we have a chance to grow, potentially have a chance to learn new things about ourselves, about life. And the better we're able to adapt, the better we're going to be equipped moving forward with our lives. And I don't want to make it seem like it's finite. Or it is finite. I don't want to make it seem like there's no time left or anything like that. But it's good to be mindful about where you are every now and then, checking with yourselves. And this is something that that I promote all the time whenever I'm on my podcast, and every chance that I get, check in with yourself from time to time to see where you're at, because it's important to know where you're at emotionally, physically, mentally. And just appreciate the moment. Look, despite July feeling like a longer month, and it definitely has felt like a longer month because so many things have happened this month, it is still fleeting. It is still fleeting. It's already August. I can't believe it. I'm going camping next weekend. That caught me off guard. I didn't realize it was so soon. I have to prepare all my stuff for camping, which is part of the reason why I'm getting stressed out. But yeah, it's just flying by. And I'm feeling a little melancholic. I guess it's just part of it. But I'm trying my best to stay in the moment. I'm trying to be present in the moment. Sometimes I do a good job, sometimes I don't. But I'm doing my best. I'm trying to make sure that I give myself the best chance to be present. Because being present not only allows you to be more in tune with the life that you're living, it also helps you realize things, right? As I mentioned, when you check in with yourself, something may come up that you did not clearly examine or haven't gotten the chance to clearly examine, right? And the reason why I bring this up is because in recent self-reflections, in recent self-conversations, I've really been thinking about the things that I used to enjoy, right? I used to love playing video games. Video games were my life for a long time. And I grew up with playing video games, and it was something I actually aspired to be a part of in a professional manner at some point in time in the past. Now, I don't really have that. It's not I don't really have. I really don't have a desire. I have none. But I did at some point because I love video games. I loved watching TV shows. I love watching movies. I used to be really into the whole MCU thing. I wrote music quite a bit in the last few years, and recently it's come to a halt. And I'm just realizing that I'm still doing this podcast, which I'm proud of myself, that there's some consistency there. But even like video editing, which I love to do, I love making personal vlogs for myself and for my friends. I've kind of stopped doing that. So I don't know. This is the thing, right? I'm trying to understand if I really don't enjoy those things anymore, or I'm just too caught up in trying to recapture that feeling, right? Those feelings that I had, those emotions, that excitement, that sense of wonder that I had playing video games in my early to late teens and in my my early adulthood. I think I'm just so focused on recapturing that feeling, that essence. Same thing, same sort of feeling that applies to watching movies, TV shows, as I've mentioned, right? And I think instead of framing it in a way where I'm longing for that feeling that existed then, I I want to try to see how I feel partaking in those things earnestly, right? An earnest effort, not just fire up a game or thing and movie and not be present and kind of just like meh, right? And give that a shot and really try to find what, if anything, you still appreciate. I still appreciate about these things that I used to enjoy, because I'm trying to recapture a feeling that I used to have when I was a different me. When I was younger, when I was in my early to late teens, even my young adulthood, I was a very different person. I'm not the same admav as I am now. And so to recapture those feelings that existed then would be sort of a futile exercise, because I'm not me anymore from that time. I'm me in the present, and I'm not giving myself enough of a chance. Me in the present, I'm not giving me in the present enough of a chance to find what it is, or if there is anything that I can still derive from doing these things I used to love. If there's still a joy in it, what it might not be the same derivation of that joy as it was in the past, but if there's still joy to be had in it and that exists in it, then that can harmonize with how you felt about it in the past, which then gives you a better experience in the present when, partaking in those things and playing video games or watching TV shows and movies or writing music. So I'm trying to apply that sense of being present and doing those things so that I can find out what it is about them that I can still enjoy and find joy and meaning in the present with my present self. And I think a lot of us go through this experience. At least that's how I believe. And I think it's a worthy exercise for you to also, whoever's listening to this, of course, for you to also partake in the exercise that I did in terms of being the present and doing those things that you used to love, whether it's baking or, sewing, or at whatever hobby or activity that you used to love to do, but are now having trouble recapturing that joy, that meaning, that excitement that you had when you used to really be into it. Because it's fleeting, right? Time isn't slowing down. Life isn't slowing down. And I think I'm just ready to really run with this part of my life. It's not that I'm rushing things, but I have a bit more urgency to go. Not because I'm, panicked or afraid that I'm going to miss out. It's because I want to. It's something that I feel in me that I want to do. Not because of outside pressures, but because it's something that I want. Because I know that the clock is ticking And it's best that I avoid getting in my own way in terms of not appreciating the present moment and not living in a way where I fulfill my own needs and wants while also being helpful to the immediate community around me, my friends, my family. I'm sorry if I feel like I'm kind of rambling on here, but it's kind of hitting me all at once because I'm reflecting upon it again, how fast things go. And I'm trying to stay in this present moment as these words are leaving my lips onto the microphone and into the storage space on my computer, appreciating this moment where I am in life at this very moment. And remember that this is okay. It's okay to be in the moment and to not worry about the things that haven't come. It's okay. Even if you can only sustain that for a moment, it's okay. That's another moment where you're present. It's fleeting. Remember, it's fleeting. Let's try our best to continue being present, being in the moment. I know I will. So that as fleeting as the moments may be, we can appreciate it as much as we can as it passes us by. And then hopefully, we're able to store them away as beautiful memories we can one day look back on. That's it for today, everyone. Love you all. Until next time, take care.